So this is another quick little review of something that's weird and wonderful. I don't expect many people have seen this one out there. This is a resin kit in 1/48 scale from RCR Models, which is an Italian company. Most of the stuff inside is in Italian, so the paperwork on the instructions and all the rest of it. Contrary to what it says here, there are no decals included, so you have to get markings from elsewhere. It's the Imam Ro.37 A.30, which is probably better known as the BIS version, which saw service in World War II, in the Spanish Civil War, most notably. This is the inline version, so it's the earlier one. This was used in the Ethiopian campaign by the Italians, and in World War II. I don't think any of these were in Spain, and I don't think many of these went too far into the Second World War. And luckily there has been a plastic boxing of this in the interim of this one being out. This is quite an old kit, so Special Hobby have done a release, so there's a few more markings out there and a bit more information about it. So that's the box, this sort of cardboard box, nothing special. So getting into the paperwork, in the instructions you've got a breakdown there of the parts in photo etch on the back. On the front you've got a bit of information about the aircraft. It's all in Italian, so not much help unless you can read Italian. You can see the price says £47. That's not what I paid for it. I think I got quite a bargain here. This was 15 quid I managed to pick this up for. Didn't really want it, but you'll see once you see the kit, it's certainly worth having. So it gives you a example here of how the undercarriage lines up, and the in-flight and wheels down difference. So obviously it drops. There's a bit of suspension in the arms there when it's in flight. So it's quite interesting. And then something you might not be used to, this sort of breakdown with an instruction sheet. I don't know if I'll ever build this kit looking at it, because it's quite daunting, but you'll see that when we get into it. It does call for a complete interior bracing being constructed by scratch, so that would be with plastic tube or a metal tube or whatever, brass rod. So you've got to make that yourself, that's not included, and it's pretty easy to follow this as you go through, and when you see the kit parts you'll see how it's meant to go together. I mean, you get one section for the underwing and the main fuselage, that's all in one piece, and then you've got the top wing goes on as well, that's in one piece, and then you've got this part here that slots in on top of that as well. You've got a nice little photo etch interior side window here, which is got a clear piece of plastic as a panel, and then the photo etch bit gives you the surface details, and then there's a few parts going on through here. Again, it's all in Italian, so it's pretty difficult to work out what these little paragraphs are telling you, but as you can see, certainly something a little bit different, especially when you get down to the making up here of the wheels, which are 3 or 4 parts there out of etch brass. So quite a complex kit. Here you can see the parts for the wheels I was talking about, and then you've got a parts breakdown as well, again all in Italian, probably actually telling you what each bit is meant to do. So if you can get this translated, it might prove very useful. Then getting into the parts, we'll start with the big bits of resin first, which are 2 wings and a fuselage. So pretty sturdy stuff. I mean, as far as resin's concerned, I've seen other resin kits these days and there's nothing compared to this. It's really, really high quality, really solid, no problem there. There's no warping or nothing, it's very straight. It's really nice. And this slots straight in as a dry fit, so it just sort of squeezes in. You don't usually get that with resin, so you know, that's pretty good. As you can see, no warping or anything. Gives you a size of the idea of the size of the model as well. So something very different here, as you can see. So we'll get those parts out of the way, and then there's a couple bits of photo etch and a clear piece of plastic there. couple butts, sorry. And looking at this etch metal, it's very interesting. I think the idea in this, in the centre of the spokes here, you put a joiner on the backside of a piece of plastic, and then when you join it together, you sort of push it together so you get the spokes doing like that sort of shape coming off the middle, and then they'd be like that the other side. You'd have the joiner in the middle as a spacer. So very nice. You've got the harnesses here, a few other bits as well, and there's the framing for the side windows, which you put this piece of clear in, and there's also an instrument panel there as well. So very interesting, again, as with the rest of it. There's two different sizes, grades of plastic there as well. I expect that's for the side windows because that's very flimsy, and this will be for making up the windscreen. RCR models also used to make, I don't think they're going anymore, that's why I say used to, make etched sets as well for usually Italian subjects, so like the Italieri or Supermodel flying boats that were done. And I've bagged these since getting this because I didn't want to get them damaged. So well, there you go, I'm wrong as far as the flat plastic's concerned, because there's some vac-form pieces there for the front windscreen and the middle canopy. That's very nice. You get two of those, so you can you get a second chance. That's pretty sturdy stuff, so that's nice. Then we've got the centre section here, again just showing you the fit. This is again really strong fitting wise, yeah, no problem there, as you can see. Very nice. It is worth saying here on the fuselage, there's no interior detail. It's meant for you to create a cockpit section out of plastic rod or brass rod and slot that in. And then I've bagged up here all the other small parts that are in resin. So we've got wing tips. No, we haven't. So we've got wheel housings for the undercarriage. And there's the 2/2 resin wheels, so the pieces of photo etch go on the inside, and then you join the two together to make the complete tyre, like that. And then this then slots in inside that, and that makes up your undercarriage. So that's those bits. You've got ailerons as well for the rear horizontal stabilisers, like that. Again, the fitting here, you don't ever get this with resin. It's good quality stuff. As you can see, there's no warpage, it's very straight, and that's the rudder there as well. And then there's this bucket seat, which is very nice. A couple of holes there, I'm not sure if they're meant to be there or not. They might be sink marks or bubbles. And then a few small details there, so air scoops for the side of the fuselage, which are hollowed out. That's very nice. And then to finish off, there are some white metal parts, which are all a bit of a jumble. Mainly struts and propellers. So you've got the nose cone there and a propeller blade. It's quite sturdy, and all of the struts are very strong as well and well cast for white metal. Not a huge amount of cleanup. A few other small parts here that it's hard to tell what they actually are at the minute. A nice machine gun there. It's pretty basic, I suppose. Limitations of white metal casting, might have been better in resin. Tail wheel, and the undercarriage legs as well. So that is a look inside the box of RCR models, resin 1/48 scale Imam Ro.37 A.30. A very interesting kit. Hopefully you like looking at these sort of rarer kits. Let me know in the comments if that's the case. I've got a few more to come, so I hope you enjoyed that.